Yesterday, I started going through Homer, looking at the grammar inductively, talking my way through the verbs, the participles, uh, doing a grammatical analysis along with a brief commentary. Basically, I would like to say this as I get started. I enjoy doing this in my retirement uh, as a former chair of Old Testament seminary teacher. I enjoy doing this, and I'm tackling classical Greek just for the fun of it. I also want to say that if anyone would be interested, we just have finished about 20 chapters of the epilogue of Hammurabi in Akkadian, where we do the same thing, where we look at each word grammatically from the transliteration and normalization of the cuneiform. So if anyone would have an interest, I just want to throw that out. It's on my YouTube, Dr. Gary Stats, and on my YouTube channel. And also, I've completed a number of Hebrew grammars, especially looking at Messianic text and my understanding as a Christian minister from the Hebrew Bible, and looking at each word grammatically, trying to do historical Hebrew grammar and so forth. So if anyone is interested, again, that would be under, all of this would be under playlists on my YouTube channel. At any rate, let's go back to where we stopped. We looked at how the muse is encouraged to sing of Achilles' wrath, which brought sorrow and death to the Achaean camp. And this is found, we finished the first 7 lines of Homer and the Iliad, and now we're going to be picking up on line 8. And from this point on through today, we'll be looking at Chryses, the priest of Apollo, who comes to the Achaeans to ransom his daughter, the captive and the captive, let's say, of Agamemnon. And so one of the things that I think need to be pointed out, in my understanding of it, the epic poem begins with Manan, wrath. And wrath here, I think, is looking at the god himself, Zeus, who is perfecting his counsel. And it seems that what has happened, Agamemnon is a very self-centered person and causes all of this problem. And I'm thinking what part of Homer's objective might have been is to show that this sets everything in a negative way. When people act in a narcissistic way or selfish way. And certainly Agamemnon becomes a character of that and causes Achilles to leave because he took his prize that he had. And it just, yeah. And I'm wondering, when I did my PhD dissertation, I did it in Hebrew, looking at David as a negative role model and all that David did in the Bathsheba narrative of 2 Samuel. It's interesting, there's a word in Hebrew, vayishlach, 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 that keeps repeating itself. David's sinning and doing all this. Finally, God has the final vayishlach. And so I did a liedwoord, or a study of a word, following sort of the Buber idea that words and phrases can teach great truth. And I think David, certainly in that narrative and all the chaos that resulted, is a negative role model. And I think the same thing here with Agamemnon. He's certainly not a positive role model. And I think, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm wondering if the Greek audience might have thought that, as all of this would have been recited and would have been sung and so forth. But let's pick it up then at Chrysis the priest of Apollo coming to the Achaeans, trying to ransom his daughter, who was captive by Agamemnon. So I'm picking it up then at line, it would be line 8. And I'm reading it, by the way, we're using the classic interlinear translation, the Iliad of Homer. And what I'm doing is reading the text and doing the grammar, looking at the grammar inductively, and then going back to the way that it's actually written in Homeric Greek, the order, because the transliteration follows an English order, and often what is missed then is the emphasis and the hexameter and so forth. And like I said in the last video, the hexameter, the way of reading this, there are many people who have put things out on YouTube that are much better than I know very little about hexameter. I know what it is, but I've never been trained to read it and so forth. So I'm a beginner, really. So let's go then and pick up in the next phrase. It reads, Tetis ar theon sune eke, svo makestai eridi. In other words, and who then of the gods joined together or set together the two of them to fight in contention? The question is being asked, what caused this? And notice slow here as we read, before we get to that, who then of the gods sent together, Xune eke. Xune eke here is from Xunemai, and it means to join together. Who joined together? And by the way, this is a present, this is an aorist indicative active third person singular from Xunemai. So who joined together the two of them? And here we have svo, a third person third person pronoun, accusative dual personal pronoun. So who joined the two of them to fight? Makestai. Makestai is from makamai. It is a present middle infinitive. It's a deponent verb, but it is, in my understanding, a present middle infinitive, to fight among themselves in contention. Notice eridi is in the dative case. So who caused that fighting? And then Homer goes on to share that. Huios letus kai dios garha kalothes basilei orse kaken nusan ana stratan. That is the son of Latona. Notice Letus here is Latona, who is actually Leto was the mother of Apollo. So the son of Latona, this is a genitive in the Greek text here, and Deos and Zeus. And so we're talking about Apollo, who was the son of Leto, his mother, and Zeus, his father, uh, among the gods. Garcha kalothes, for he being enraged, and that is Apollo. And notice here we have kalothes, which is from kalao or kolao, which is an aorist passive participial construction. And notice here it's a nominative masculine singular. And so being enraged, for he being enraged with the king, Basilei Orse Kakein Nusan, that is excited, a bad disease. And here, I think we have the whole idea of causing the plague. And this is from ornumi, which means to be disturbed and excited about what's in a way that being enraged and this, so he, because he, the king, with the king, he excited or stirred up a bad disease, and it's from ornumi. Notice here, orse is an aorist indicative active third person singular from ornumi. So he stirred up or excited, made to happen a bad plague or a bad disease throughout. Ana means throughout, stratan, throughout the army of the Achaeans. And the people were perishing. Notice de laoi alekanta. The people were perishing. Alekanta is the imperfect indicative active, third person plural, from aleko. So the people, or oleko, excuse me, the people were perishing, third plural. Or we could say were being, it's passive, so they were being destroyed. Imperfect passive indicative, third plural, from alekanta, or actually from aleko, but it's alekanta. So it's the imperfect here, passive. So the people of the Achaeans were being destroyed. Why? He goes on, Huneke atreides etimese tan aretera chrisin, because the son of Atreus, and that would be Agamemnon, etimese tan aretera crucing, that is, the son of Atreus, Agamemnon, understood, and he doesn't need to be named because the Greek audience would know who Homer was speaking about, dishonored. Atimesin is the aorist indicative active, a third person singular here, from atimazo, to dishonor. So the son of Atreus dishonored tan aretera crucing, that is the priest Chrysus. And Chrysus is coming to try to redeem his daughter back that had been captured by Agamemnon. And then the text goes on, Garha elthe epi thaas neas akaion. That is, but he came to the swift ships of the Achaeans. Notice here, ha eothe. Eothe is your aorist indicative active third person singular from erkamai. And ha would just be he, representing the priest who came. It's interesting, as I read this, we have a similar idea or a similar construction in New Testament Greek. In the book of Revelation, it speaks of God, Ha-Ein, the one who was. And some students of the Apocalypse of Revelation have said that's very bad Greek, and that John didn't really have a good knowledge of Greek. I don't think that's true, honestly. I think we have the same idea here. You have an article with a verb. And there in the book of Revelation, it's looking at the eternality of God. And ha-ein, ein is the imperfect indicative active from amy. Ha is the definite article, the one who was. So we have a similar construction here with the aorist indicative active and the article. So we don't need a participle to have a good Greek. At least I don't believe, as I'm looking at the same idea here grammatically that we find in the Apocalypse of John. So he came upon, or to, I should say, the swift ships of the Achaeans. Achaeon, of course, is your genitive plural. Both being about to ransom his daughter. Now we're told why he came. Te lusamenas thugatra. Notice lusamenas is from luo. It means to ransom, and this is here a future participle nominative masculine singular from luo. I remember when I first learned Greek, luo was the verb we worked on. When I did Greek, we used machen in New Testament Koine Greek. And you have luo, and then luso is your future, lusamai, and then we had the participle, lusamenos. And so this is what we have here in Homeric Greek, in my understanding. So being about to ransom, luo means to loose, release, ransom. The daughter, his daughter, teferan aperesia apoina, and bearing boundless ransoms. So he's bringing a lot of gifts to make this happen. And then it says both, not only doing that, te ekon in kersin stema ekebalu apolunas. That is, having in his hands the fillet of far darting Apollo. Notice we have a both and, te, bearing a boundless ransoms, and we have te, having, ekon is your present participle, nominative masculine singular from echo, and having in his hands, his being understood here, the fillet, stema ekebalu, the fillet of fire darting or shooting Apollo. And upon, furthermore, a golden scepter, ana krusao skeptro. In other words, he's bearing this upon a golden scepter, a scepter of gold. And it is interesting to me that gold is showing something that is superhuman in imagery, that is super mundane. And I think about this, and Farr pointed this out. I thought it was very helpful when you look at the book of Revelation, you have streets of gold. And so gold is looking at something above this world, supra this world, supra mundane. And streets of gold do not necessarily, I don't think, mean literal gold, but I think he's using a symbol here similar to what we have here, looking at something that is divine, something that is beyond this world, that he, since he has a gold scepter, showing again the magnitude of what Apollo, in other words, he bring a far darting Apollo upon a gold scepter, showing again something beyond just a mundane thing, I think is the idea here that the priest is bringing. And then Kai Elisata Pantas Akaios, that is, and he was entreating all the Achaeans. Notice here, Elisata is your imperfect indicative middle, third singular from lissamai. In other words, he himself was entreating all the Achaeans, and especially the two sons of Atreus. Notice, Demalista duo Atreda. And here we're talking now about Agamemnon and Achilles. So especially the two sons of Atreda, Kasmetere Laon, that is, marshallers of the people. Kasmetera would be the leaders or the marshallers of the people. And then he gives his entreatment. I mean, he's entreating them. And notice in the next phrase, te atredai, both, O sons of Atreus, kai aloi yuk nemides akaioi, and other well-grieved Achaeans. Notice here he's talking to all the Achaeans. He's entreating them. And in my looking up what well-grieved meant in Farr and also in the other book that has been a tremendous help to me in Bennett and Benner, it's my understanding that they were like leggings that were worn to protect the shins. And so he's addressing them in their armor, what they have on. And it goes on to say, the gods, as we continue, Theoi ekantes alumpia domata doing. The gods having Olympian, having homes, Olympian abodes or Olympian homes. Doma means home or abode. So these are gods having their home on Mount Olympus. Notice here, ekantes is your present active participle, nominative masculine plural from echo. And so they have their homes on Olympus. Doyen humin men ek persai. May they give to you indeed to destroy the city of Priam. It goes on then to say Palin Priamoya. Notice here he's wishing them success, and he's doing everything he can to get their positive response. Notice doyen is an optative in Homeric Greek. It's an aorist optative, third plural from didomi, third masculine plural from didomi. In I'm finding in classical Greek and also in Homeric Greek, we have a lot of optatives. In biblical Koine Greek, we don't have a whole lot. There's some, but not a whole lot. So the Olympian abodes, he's talking about the gods having Olympian homes. May they give to you to destroy the city of Priam. Notice humin men ekpersai. Ekpersai means to destroy. And here we have an aorist infinitive from ekpertho, aorist active infinitive. So may the gods give to you to destroy Palen, the city of Priamoia, the city of Priam. Notice here, what he's saying is we are giving you, or I'm giving you this wish that you would be successful against the city of Troy, Priam, and to arrive well or safely homeward. Notice de hikestai you oikade. And hikestai is your second middle. Notice here, it is your second aorist middle from hikneamai, to arrive. Second aorist middle infinitive. So to arrive well, Hugh, or safely, oikade, at home or homeward. But now he comes to his request. Delusatai amoi, philein paida. But may you liberate to me my dear child, his daughter. And now we have lusetai here, which is another optative form. We saw one in doyen, and so now we have the optative here, and the may you liberate, optative aorist, second person plural from luo. So may you liberate to me, philein paida, my dear child, and receive the ransoms. Notice dekestai here means to receive, from dekamai. And I'm seeing this as an imperative from dekamai, second masculine plural from dekamai. And may you receive the ransoms, apoina, to apoina, reverencing azamenoi huian deos, reverencing the son of Zeus, which would be Apollo. Atzamenoi means to reverence, and here we have a participle from the root to reverence, nominative, reverencing, I should say, a participle middle, present middle participle, nominative masculine plural from atsamai, to reverence the son of Zeus, the far-darting Apollo. In other words, the one who shoots his arrows from afar, I guess would be my understanding of that. So I'm going to stop there because we've looked at the section where he's pleading for help, and that they would accept the ransom that he is sending to them and would release his daughter. So it's interesting, as we go back to the order of Homer himself, then, Tistar svo theon eridi sune eke makastai. Who of the two of them joined of the gods joined in strife to fight? Letus kaideos huios ha garbasilei kalothes. That is Letus of the mother of Apollo and Deos, and that's put forth for emphasis here. And the son being angry with the king, that a plague in the camp, he stirred up an evil plague, and the people were being destroyed. Nasan again is emphatic here, being first in this third phrase, or on line 10, stirring up a plague, an evil plague. The people were being destroyed on account of Chrysis, dishonored the priest of Atreides, on account of Chrysis, and the son of Atreides, Agamemnon, had dishonored the priest. For he came, Hagar Elthath Theas Epineas Achayon, unto the swift ships of the Achaeans, in order to redeem, desiring to redeem his daughter, Lusamenas Tethugatra Ferun te aperese apoina, desiring this redemption of his daughter and bearing numerous ransoms. Stemadechon in kersen ekebalu apollonas, that is, having a fillet in his hand of fire darting Apollo. Chrysoo, there we have that emphatic emphasis of gold. And then it goes on, ana skeptro, upon a gold scepter, kai licitapantas archaius, and he was entreating the Achaeans, atreida, there's that vocative, O sons of Atrus, and especially the marshallers, the two marshallers of the people, Malastaduo Kosmetoralaon, and Atreidai te Kaialoi Euknemides Aikaioi, and sons of Atres, and other well-grieved Achaeans, Humin theoi doyen anumpia domata ekantes, that is, may the gods give, having homes upon Mount Olympus, ekpersai priamoia palian you doikad hikestai, that is, to sack Priam, the city of Priam, and to arrive homeward safely. Paida de moi lusai tefulen ta poina dekastai, and but release to me, my dear child, and by receiving and receive the ransoms. And then adsamanoi dios huian ekebalan apolluna, reverencing Zeus, the son of far shooting or darting Apollo. So you can see, if you're following in the Homeric text itself and not the transliteration, not the interlinear, that's the order. And I think what you find in the the interlinear, you learn vocabulary. And here you focus on the beauty of the poetry. And again, like I said, I'm not that trained at all in how to pronounce it with a long, couple short, and the hexameter type of meter. But I think once you learn to read it, and I'm learning myself, then later one can pick up the reading or the fluency of hexameter reading. Right now, my main concern is just to pick up the vocabulary and try to learn how to read Homer. Let me just say one other thing that I didn't do at the beginning that I think would be helpful. I did not give vocabulary, and so just to give a couple moments to vocabulary, areter is priest, and then we have ta'as, ta'an, meaning swift or speedy, speaking of the ships. Thagater is daughter, and kosmetor, and kosmetoras is marshaller, and lissamai means to beg or entreat. Neus means ship, and stemma means fillet or wreath. Stemma, stemmatas. And then we have atsamai, meaning to reverence. And we saw that at the end, atsamai. Dekamai, to receive. Didomi, to give. Doma is a house. And ekpertho means to destroy. And euknemidas, well grieved. And we talked about that just briefly, the leg covering. Igneamai means to arrive. And then oegade means to arrive to home or homeward. So those are some of the words that in vocabulary that I didn't mention at the beginning that might have been helpful. And I have this list that I read from the book Clyde Farr, Homeric Greek, a book for beginners, revised by John Wright. And I think it's a great little book that helps summarize the vocabulary. Again, thank you for letting me do this. I'm enjoying it, trying to improve in my own vocabulary and reading of Homeric Greek, something I was not trained in. So I'm enjoying the hobby of doing it.